is Hiroki Matsuchi, and you are listening to or watching Bridges, a weekly showcase of a single content creator in Japan and their content. This is episode number 23. And today, we are featuring a YouTube channel and blog with a very simple name, Dimitri's blog. And while it may just seem like any other ordinary personal blog meant to share photos and videos with friends and family, there's definitely a lot on his site that goes beyond that relatively small circle. And although I've only had the pleasure to meet Dimitri in person on 2 occasions, he's one of the foreigners living in the country that's doing some really interesting stuff. And although I've tried to get him to explain it to me on a number of occasions, really the only thing I've gleaned from our conversations involves the imminent robot apocalypse. But I'll save that for an entirely different episode and show. In addition to his posts on the various festivals, observations, cultural observations about Japan, and projects he's working on, there is one in particular that I'd like to hone in on first. This is the first post on an ongoing relief effort that will continue and has been raising money for Japan, and hopefully ultimately will inspire a boost in tourism in Dimitri's neck of the woods. So here is a bit from his first post. The name of this project is Project Biwa, which is the name of the big inland, or the big lake in Japan. So trying to help, Project Biwa. As you all know, the situation in the areas affected by the March 11th earthquake and tsunami is still very bad. It is still fairly easy to imagine how bad things are, and I'm not going to dwell on it. And that's not the point of this post. The important thing now is to help. But how can I help? Initially, I thought of only 2 ways. I could help donating cash or supplies, or going up there to help. The former option is fairly obvious, but I am far from rich, and my small contribution to date will not get them very far, even though, of course, it is still better than nothing. So, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. What can I do? There's some great ideas circulating over the internet. I've already told you about the Partners for Japan channel, which is a YouTube channel that raised money for the relief effort. But it is not the only project on YouTube. Take Victor, aka Give Me a Break Man / Give Me a Flake Man, for instance. His channels are into the tens of thousands of subscribers, and he is putting this to good use. In addition to participating in the Partners for Japan channel, he has recently announced a Gambare Japan collaboration project, asking people to submit photos or videos that will be put together to lift everyone's spirits. And to make things even better, proceeds from the video will be donated to charity. Very nice. So, of course, Dimitri goes on in this first blog post to talk about the relief efforts being done, and in this case, having had been done. This is a kind of an older post by a number of different content creators around Japan. And it's really interesting to see. He talks about, of course, Victor. He talks about Busan Kevin. But then he goes on to talk about his own project. And here comes Project Biwa. So Project Biwa is a 3-day loop around Lake Biwa to document just how beautiful the area is. Photos from this trip will of course appear on this blog, but the nicest ones will also be collected into a book using Blurb or another similar service, and all proceeds from this book will go to charity. In order to spice things up a little, and so as not to seat on a train while Kevin is trying so hard, the loop will be done cycling. I see. So he's not doing this by train, it's going to be done by bicycle. The loop itself is a 200-kilometer effort. Yes, you heard that right, 200 kilometers. As you can see from the map below, it's calculated using running ahead. So he has this great map and elevation profile of the anticipated route. Of course, if I want to cycle around the lake without wasting money on renting a bike, I'll also have to cycle to the lake and back. So you can add another 100 kilometers or so, again from his home, I assume, to the southern tip of the lake. I guess it's about 50 kilometers, which would be 100 kilometers round trip. At this point, it's worth remembering that my bike is something of a hybrid between a chopper and a Japanese mamachari. Mamachari are kind of the utility bicycles that housewives and mothers use to ferry groceries to and from the grocery store. In other words, it's a fairly heavy single-speed bike with a basket in front. Again, this is not a high-tech bike that's designed for, cruising hundreds or thousands of kilometers. This is a very, very simple-looking utility bike. With this kind of bike, I need to train hard in order to pull this off. I've already started and will gradually increase my daily total. The big test will come in about 4 to 5 weeks from now when I will start testing myself on distances over 80 kilometers. If all things progress smoothly, I'm hoping to complete the loop in late May, but cannot guarantee an exact date yet. In any case, even if I need another 6 months of training, it will eventually happen. And interestingly enough, if you go to his most recent post with the Project Biwa tag, green light for Project Biwa. In case you have not already seen this on our Facebook page or Twitter, I just wanted to post this brief message to let you know that our big ride around Lake Biwa will take place this weekend. More details in the coming days, so please be sure to stay tuned. So in addition to riding around the lake, he's also collecting donations. So if you guys are interested, please, even if you're not interested, you have to donate at least something to Project Biwa. So I would highly encourage you to visit Dimitri's site. Again, the links will be in our show notes as well as flashed up on the screen earlier. Please visit his blog and make a contribution. He's raised over $1,000 at this point, and the number is still counting. So please, please be sure to donate at least something. However, moving on to another very interesting post of his. This is entirely different. This is not charity related. But this is a very interesting post that kind of became a mini internet meme called Perspectives. So next week will mark our first anniversary of moving to Osaka. There's no denying this was a big event, and I thought this anniversary was a nice opportunity to play a little game with you. Let's talk perspectives. Where were we 1, 5, 10 years ago? Where might we be 1, 5, 10 years from now? So I'm going to skip a little bit of the middle part just for the sake of time. So I'm going to go all the way at the beginning and jump to the end. So 10 years ago from this post, 10 years ago in June 2001, I was living in Lyon, France. I was 1 year out of high school and halfway through 2 years in class preparatoires. The Wikipedia article indicates that the amount of work required of the student is exceptionally high. This is one way to put it indeed. The focus of these 2 years was to get admitted into a decent engineering school, and 6 days a week were focused on mathematics, physics, and so on. This left very little time to project myself a few years down the road, but I did not mind. I was also listening to a fair amount of music, and somehow, most of it came from Ireland. I had no idea back then, but a few months later, I was to meet the lovely person who would eventually become my wife. So again, there's lots of great stuff in between, but I'm going to jump ahead to the last part of this, 10 years from now. It is extremely difficult to imagine how things will be in 10 years. Looking back 10 years ago, I had no idea I would be a researcher, that I would be living in Japan, or even that I would be spending so long in Ireland before that. If I really had to guess, I would say that we will probably be somewhere in Europe, most likely Ireland or the United Kingdom, and maybe with some kids, maybe with more kids running around. More kids. Oh, okay, well, maybe this is something that happened in another one of his previous future projections. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any kids at the moment. I could be wrong, though. In terms of work, I still see myself in research, hopefully with a long contract. In an ideal world, I would have my own research team and would continue to have great collaborators across disciplines as well as across continents. Your turn. So yeah, again, he kind of set this up, this meme, gave a demonstration, and he kind of pushed it out to the public. And he actually got quite a few responses from not only bloggers, but people in the YouTube world as well. Again, really interesting guy, really clever guy, and a lot of fun to talk to. So, to round things off, I'd like to show just one very quick video from his YouTube channel in which he takes us on a very simple tour of his commute to the lab at Osaka University where he works. You really gotta love the sound of those cicadas. Enjoy, guys. A really nice guy, interesting to talk to, big supporter of the content we put out, and of course, future overlord of the robot apocalypse. Be sure to check out his blog and definitely make a contribution to Project Biwa before time runs out. Again, he's making the loop, weather permitting, I think this weekend. So please be sure to keep tabs on this very interesting Japan-based content creator, and definitely don't forget, donate some funds to his cause. That's the most important thing at this point. And thank you all again for watching or listening to episode 23 of Bridges. Please get in touch with us over at bridges@wanwan.fm with any comments, questions, or suggestions for future content creators to be featured on the show. And once again, my name is Hiroki Matsuuchi, and this is Bridges. See you all next week. Bye, guys.